Hello, we are conducting another stream. I shall lower the camera. Soon we will not be having this camera. I intended today to sand down the putty work we've done a couple of days ago and then make the chest pit, chest piece a bit better. I've got ideas about the layout of the stream and whatnot, so just bear with me. It will be fixed at a later date. I'm going to check if the stream is working, and if we are strolling, screaming, streaming, doing a good job. Welcome to the chat room. So try this one more time. If we are running well, we'll get straight into it. We are live. We are buffering. And we are fucking good. Welcome to the stream. We're live. I'm your boy, the Mokana Man. I'm gonna win. Now, the problem with this figure is it had its tits out for the boys, and it's meant to have the armor up against the bell bit of the dress, and just showing a bit of tits. I've cut and filed down the breasts a bit. There they are. Putty them to get the cleavage back, and put some more putty to hide the scratch marks and whatnot. I forgot my water. Back in 2 seconds. Water acquired. Super glue acquired. And we shall jump straight into sanding. And we'll talk a bit of resin until we get our first friend on chat. If we get anyone on chat, doesn't bother me if we don't. So what I've done last time is use milliput to bulk it up a bit, and bog putty, automated bog putty, to just fill any of the joints. We are wet sanding with 110 grit to 180 grit to get it down nice and flat. And then we're going to work our way down the grits and get it all nice and smooth. Might be another layer of putty, but that's not a big problem. That's not a biggie. And the process can be afforded to do a couple of times over, as long as the shape and the surface detail is okay. I'm pretty happy. And that's the most important thing. If the result is of the acceptability of the modeler. Lots of fluids this time. We'll not be getting a dry throat. I've been watching some more streams just here and there during the week, particularly researching popular streams, learning what they do, how they present themselves, how do they talk, how do they keep people entertained, so I can imitate them. And so I can pretty much imitate what what's a popular stream does, how to keep people amused from people that experienced. He's been doing Twitch for a while. Got no problems learning from those before me, and adding any ideas to our own format here at Mokana Man. And there's not much. Normally they got a few cameras, a picture, and text scrolling and all that. And with time, that will be done. But generally, other ones aren't too different. They do have the stamina to run a stream a lot longer than me. I sort of get a bit tired of talking, run out of topics, and I don't want to really be awkward. I find a lot of streams that just sit there in silence for large amounts of time with music and talk a little bit don't attract that much unless their work is like really awesome, like sculpting and whatnot. But with the work they're doing, they probably deserve many hundreds of views. But since they're putting everything they're doing in what they're doing and just inviting a few to watch if they really want to, suppose they're not really into the entertaining side of things, and they're more into the education just by watching, observing, copying, and if you did ask a question, they potentially can get around to answering it. Also realise I've got a few friends on Twitch, and I'll be following them, so we've got 2 followers, and we'll just keep, not loudly promoting ourselves yet. We're not quite ready for our big debut. I want the camera out, I want the clamps out, I want everything set up, pictures, scrolling text, full profile and the lot, profile picture. Once that's all done, we can definitely call ourselves a ready to go stream. I actually think the chest is almost sanded down flat, and we'll probably hit it with finer grits. I got a feeling that maybe if I hit it with a primer, there's going to be a few potholes and stuff, and there might be needing another layer of putty, maybe polyester putty. Under boobs are a bit fucked, but doesn't matter, it gets covered as long as the side boobs are good. Drink. So these sandpapers are kind of fucked. This is kind of fucked. I might just get myself a new piece of 360. Do bloody good. Don't be too conservative with sandpaper, which sometimes I can be a bit conservative on supplies and whatnot. And I think I've left my drill set in the other room. Pain in the ass. I'm going to have to do another dash. Though that's due to my unprofessional, unorganised, bullshit regalia. But I am a man with a weeb figure sanding down a set of tits on a Monday night before work. Single and all, so that's got to be pretty fucking sad. I gotta say, cannot be any more happier than I am right now. I am having a blast, so that is that's pretty cool. Thus, chat is thus empty, so that's alright. But we've only just really put up a notification on the Mokana Man only. I haven't gone up on any public links or anything. So, being a Monday night, it's a good point. Monday night, you'd have a lot of people at home and sort of just done their first day of week of work, and they're probably tired, early nights, playing video games, watching TV, whatnot. So, could attract a decent audience, probably better than a Friday night. But I suppose we'll see when we get mad audiences. Don't know. I'm still yet to explore those sort of avenues. But second row in a week, I've been on a similar time of a Monday. Once we have a schedule, then it's the sort of thing that One more episode of this show I'm watching. 5 more minutes until I do the stream. A few more minutes. Yes, I will eat a sandwich. Once there's a schedule, it'll be like, fuck, better down the sandwich, better do this, that, gonna be online soon. So a schedule could be good. Maybe 2, maybe 3 days. Up to hours. Stick to it. And I'll have some scheduled non-modeling time away from camera so I can sort of just focus on something that might be a bit hard or make tutorials or something. We will figure it out what's worthwhile and what's not worthwhile. But the biggest problem is I do not stream for long periods of time, and that could be very, very difficult in building an audience. I might have to follow some more tutorials and do a little more research, because long streams seems to be what it is required in building an audience. And if I can't stream for a long time, then I'm kind of fucked. But that's alright, that's alright. This is just a learning curve. This is just an experiment. But I know what I am doing right now is something that I do know, and it's building resin. I'm far from an expert, but I did finish the Zanzibar class ship. I flashed it a few times in front of the screen that had the awful fisheye. And that was a pretty good example and lesson on cleaning resin. I spent about 3-4 hours many weeks ago building it, and washing it, and sanding it. Primed it, fucked that up. Soaked it in resin. Soaked it in bleach on stream, and cleaned it up. And when I got to the workshop, I primed it again. No fisheye. Worked absolutely beautifully. Airbrushed the storm, hand painted some bits, came out nice. It is on the Mokana Man page. I've posted it all over the place. It's pretty satisfactory, I have to say. It came out okay. There is a couple of mistakes, but you get that for quickie. It was just a mental build after the Gunpla Builders World Cup. This build here is a bit more serious, but it also has a bit of backing from E2046, and I would like them to be quite happy with the painting. I showed them the starting of the build, the cleanup, the assembly so far. I'm very happy that I was taking it seriously and I was working on it, because that's the most important thing. I want them to know that at least it's being worked upon. And they said they can't wait to see it painted. So don't know if that's going to be a thing that they're going to be judging on, or that they're actually just curious and happy, and it's one fellow modeler to another fellow modeler. We'll play it by ear. Mind you, with this sanding, I've sanded it quite a bit at this grit, and I think I'll polish it for ages, and it might actually be pretty good. One pass, and if that's the case, fuck yeah. The breasts are almost pretty smooth and neat. There's like a tiny gap at the bottom of the cleavage, but that's going to be completely covered, so I don't really give a fuck about that. But it's sort of a blend of the resin straight into the putty. Where I've done a lot of the carving, I do not feel chunks just taken out. It does look like the breasts are being squished against something hard, so that's an objective achieved. We're just going to make sure that any of those heavy gorge marks that I did the other night is taken out by sanding, and when we lay down primer in the visible areas, that we do not have any surprises whatsoever. So I might keep sanding until like a lot of the putty is removed, and we know that we're in very, very, very fresh resin zone. That it is areas that have not been messed with. Starting to improve the texture in the cleavage. That's excellent news, because that's going to be visible. This is probably one of the most intense modifications I've ever done on a resin model. Normally my resin kits, it's all out of the box. I just seemed really displeased with the pose and how this part fitted. Tempted to fix it in my own image and what I think would look better. The first bit that I imagined that doing the cut and the putty work has worked successfully. I just have to do the opposite in the die mold of the two-part putty, which of course for everyone's benefit I will demonstrate here. There's a couple of rough patches, but they look like they sort of get completely covered, and it's almost just pure resin, and the fit is pretty sexy. Might sand it a bit longer with the 300, and then we'll hit it for ages with the 2000. Probably get some fresh 2000. And I think it could be close to being called. It could be pretty confident. I think the resin group that I've been posting, Anime GK Kits, tough crowd, but lovely work, lovely people. It's a bit tough because they're quite concerned about, well, people can be absolute babies and cunts in modelling. And if you do something that they don't like, politically, ideology, whatever, like if you only build original kits or you do bootlegs, or if you build recasts, or like all those grounds, all those arguments, people complain and they'll just rubbish a model for the choice of what kits they're attempting. What happens with garage kits is someone will create an original character all based off intellectual property that's already owned by a studio like an anime company or whatever. So we will take, let's say, a Sailor Moon figure. Someone like Sailor Moon, they would like to have a model kit of Sailor Moon in the pose dress, blah blah blah, that doesn't exist in toy form or model kit form. They sculpt one at home and they make it in many parts. They cast the resin, or they cast the parts in silicon. They do a casting in resin. They assemble it, paint it. It looks fucking pretty awesome. They make many copies of from the molds, box it up, and have it ready for selling. And they'll sell it online or magazines or whatnot. And this violates copyright because Sailor Moon is the property of whoever the fuck owns it, and they're utilizing and profiting off a character that they don't own. Yes, in Japan, which is not exactly frowned upon, and there's special events like Wonder Festival and whatnot, G3, they will actually give you a license if you buy a table on the day to trade. They'll give you a little sticker. All the studios come together. You can sell at that event. Everything that gets that sticker can be sold after or outside the event, and you're generally okay. What happens though is because it's licensed, people buy it and they have that run, and that's that run. And there may be another run in the future event, maybe a new model, but that's it. There might be only a few hundred. People such as E2046 and other casters will get their hand on that model, make another casting, and then sell copies of the cast. Now, if the model is very popular, the artist will produce update models with a sticker on it. They're protected by the event that they're not violating copyright, and they can trade safely. If they sell all the models, they've made profit. They can go home with quite a bit of money, and they can do with that money what they wish. What recasters risk is when they make a casting of that model. They can either be the original artist can go up against them, which most of the time they don't really care what their model does outside their country or their immediate community. sometimes they do, and they do international shipping, and they sort of risk getting in trouble. And the risk of the copyright is picked up by the recaster and not the original modeler. So, the original caster sold his models, might recast them, might not, and that's that. A lot of people that bought the models as scalpers. So they bought the model, got the little sticker on it, they go on eBay, and they sell it for 3 to 5 times the amount, making a far more superior profit than the one who originally made it. And so if you wish to buy a model that may be sold for 2,000 yen in Japan, roughly $30 in Australia, 22 to 25 in the US, scalpel charges 3 to 5 times more. They might try to sell it up to $100 with shipping. You're getting butt fucked. If a recaster with superior casting equipment and do large runs with staff and sales and whatnot get a hold of it, they generally drop the price, and it makes the model available to more people, especially if the model is not available before anymore. When I buy resin kits, I believe that if the model is not easily or possibly gotten reasonably from the original artist or source, or if, let's say, a company like Volts or B Club have it for current sale and it can be bought or bought at a reasonable price at auction, I'll grab it. If it's unreasonable, if it's under scalpers, and I don't want to pay up to 5 times more, and the artist or the company has no intentions of releasing more, it's unavailable. If it's unavailable, it's a dead item. The original source has no intention of ever making profit off it again, or not for a reasonable amount of time. I believe it's okay to buy it and make the model available. Models should be available for people to build and enjoy, and not to just be held by a very select few elites and people willing to pay ridiculous amount of sums for a casting. So I will support GK kits. I'll support E2046. I'll buy them. I'll build them, but I'll be discreet where I post them. I'll put them on YouTube, Facebook, because I don't give a shit who comes along. But when it's in a community or a group, it's groups that approve of it, if they're okay with the posting of that content. And because if you post somewhere that adamantly says this group is against bootlegs, don't post bootlegs or intellectual violated property, blah, 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 you're asking for trouble. Now, this GK group is tried to keep to themselves for a long time, and people who exclusively build originals and happy to pay scalpers and whatnot, which if you're reselling, you're still profiting off a copyright that you don't own, selling a model that's not exactly created by the original copyright holders. So realistically, everyone, if you want to use arguments of the law and copyright holders and being loyal to the fan base and shit, everyone is shitting on it. Don't kid yourself. I meant shit, like when people draw doujin, fan art, cosplay, everyone's doing it. But if you want to look at, the original people that created the show, like, Sailor Moon or voice acted and whatnot, and they go to a con and they see cosplayers and artwork and posters and shit, I bet you that they're more happy that they've made their dollar and that they're seeing people enjoy their work than making a few extra dollars. The lawyers, the bean counters, the studios, the financial backers, the banks are shitty about it. They've got a shitty liver, but they're there for the profit and not for the fan base. And realistically, in the anime industry and, the original content creators and whatnot, they don't make a lot of money. They're there, they make their pay, they make their dollar there, and then that's it. They're told to fuck off, and then the banks and the big businesses just keep riding the fucking asses on it. So, is it being disrespectful to the original artists? No. Are they going to go out of business? They're getting paid virtually fuck all. No. What about merchandise? Do you buy merchandise, figures, model kits, other things? Yeah, probably. Do you watch the show licensed with ads or whatever? There's like Crunchyroll and legitimate YouTube videos and shit. Yeah, ad revenue. So people could just fuck off. Cunts. I'll just quickly check. I think I'm offline for some reason. Not that I really care, because sometimes shit can be a bit weird on this end. As long as we're live on this end, all that matters, really. And yeah, it seems to be live. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. I'm seeing I'm wiping my dirty hands on myself. So we're all good and go. I'm finished sanding and buffing the breasts with 2000 grit. I'm feeling a few very fine mistakes around the place. That's just a thin layer of putty and another round of sanding. That can happen at a much later date. I think it's time to play with the chest plate. So that's nice and dry, but I'm probably going to just wet it again. So I like it like this. I'm going to probably put putty down the center, brand it out at the bottom, so it looks like it's really thin at the top. At the bottom would be nice and thick where it's not so noticeable, and it's just going to fit just right and protrude from the body by a mil or so. We demonstrate using Millipat in that short video somewhere on this channel. And I know a lot of people won't be back watching this, but I will leave it out there for people crazy enough that wants to watch every inch and every tiny bit of my content, or play it in the background as like some sort of radio or something. May as well make it just as enjoyable for people listening later as people listening currently. Pretend there is future viewership. So that is why I will leave the videos up in general, and that could be a nice little hidden place for just more Mokana Man content. If people just think there's just not enough content out there, I want to provide plenty of content. YouTube, talk about content. Let's just talk about YouTube a bit. I've in full production swing of making YouTube videos. We are doing Gunpla Builder World Cup videos. Today we've uploaded the award ceremony for Australia. Not the most exciting thing, but for us Australians, those who were not there, and especially those who were there that want to relive it, it is a very energetic, powerful presentation. Our community has grown shit fucking tons. And it was just a really proud moment to be there for Lance, who won and will be representing Australia, for the other people that placed, who's grew, who's been there for a long time or very new to the family. My channel is not all about just tutorials and looking into my work. I made a decision a while ago, and I'll stick to it, to document and sort of also be the historian of the Australian Gunpla community, to show where we have come from and where we're going. If anybody ever looks at us in the past, they can see where has everything started. And when Scott or I or Ryan or whatnot tell stories and brag and people talk shit, there is video, photo, dated evidence of it being the case. So critics can fuck off. So I'm starting to fill the chest, or the armor chest cavity with putty, and I'm going to make it contour to the body, and eventually I might even pin it. And it seems to fit there quite nicely. It actually might be just the right amount of putty I've cut, which is cool. Hate wasting. It just sticks beautifully to resin Millipat, and it also sticks beautifully to styrene. But it just fits very nicely on. It just fits very, very nicely to resin. Sometimes a bit too much, so the opposing piece just has to be very well wetted, moistened. And then once I've got the rough shape that I'm going for, I can smooth it out with my fingers. excellent. Sculpting is not a natural state for anyone. It can be quite nerve-wracking if you've never done it before. And there's no defined tutorials because everyone who sculpts does it differently. And for every project they attempt, they do it differently. And that way, if they make a tutorial when they do another project, it's different. And the tutorial you watch may not be relevant to whatever situation that you're in. So the best way to learn how to sculpt is just keep looking at people's sculpting work in progresses and figure out how that works for you and how that you would work it in a style for yourself. And there's some people that are obviously better than others, and they've got like really good established methods and whatnot. I'm far from the best. I'm just adequate to get out of situations that I need to get into. It's nor consistent nor excellent to stand alone, but it's good enough to be dealt with in patches of work. So let's have a look. That covers things somewhat good enough. I just need to thicken some areas. I got hair getting fucking everywhere. I'm a hairy cunt. Your hands get dirty. That's just a fact. And eventually I might have to just run off and wash up a bit. It looks good. There's like no gaps or anything. I'm going to put a line of putty down the center to make sure that there are no light gaps later. And then I'm just going to allow that to dry and harden the fuck up. And as I'm doing that, I might actually apply some putty on this chest bit. So, it too can harden the fuck up. There's also a bit of putty work I have to apply on the putty. So double entendre of putty work. And that sits so much better than it did before. I'm very, very happy with that. So that's cool. These two are separate. So glue will definitely work in applying this. Somewhere on the stomach or something, I don't know. So that's going to be probably masked off there, so it could be bare resin on resin. I shall take a photo to post on Facebook. Get the putty out. Throw some of my rubbish out. Put the putty away. Lay all the pieces out. Do some assembling. Might start some pinning. And we'll call it done. Next time we come back, I shall sand these two pieces again. I'll be quickly back to wash my hands. I'm back. Now, I apologise if the audio quality is poor tonight. It's raining. Got an aluminium roof. It's going to make noise. It's the infrastructure. Can't change the infrastructure. Oh, we can, but that's not exactly affordable right now, is it? And there we go. Didn't I tell you? A little bit of lacquer thinner. And oh, that is beautiful consistency. A lot better than what I was dealing with last time. And we're just applying it around the edge of the previous putty work, filling in those holes that is giving us a bit of grief, build up in the areas that I suspect that are a bit troublesome. And because I'm putting pink on pink, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm covering all areas and not missing an area. Go for that bit of the gap in the cleavage so it doesn't piss me off later. Get it all nice and built up, knowing that it's going to evaporate a bit because there is some thin. It's the reason why it's so watery and light. But there's a chance that the fault may not be picked up when it's all covered and painted, but we fix it just in case. And for the armour, just the visual bits on the side. So we can sand it flat if there's just any gaps between the putty and the resin, as well as any dents or holes or inconsistencies. And there was a couple of weird dings on the side. I don't know if it was like armor sword strikes or something. Kind of shit me off, so I'm going to cover them up. Done. And this time, unlike last time, I will close the bloody thing properly. So a bit of putty going, a bit of detail. Best to wipe it off while it's wet. And when it's dry and try to carve and sand it out. The idea is to do as little work as humanly possible for maximum effect. There we go, nice and tight. Well, before I put that away, I should take a photo of it just for the work in progress pic. Pack lily pad away. Sexy. Put the shit away. Fuck. Next, we lay everything out on my cutting mat, and we're going to start sub-assembly of some parts. Well, I probably should take a photo of all this. It's going to be a lot more sanding. But that's cool, because it's going to go back to resin, and any pits or mistakes and whatnot will be gone. So I'll just lay shit out in order. I'm thinking just lay everything out, take a photo, and just leave out the stuff that I'm going to be sub-assembling. There is quite a bit of sub-assembly. It'll all be done in super glue. Maybe reinforce with putty. We will see how that goes. Where's my reference picture? There it is. Armor in the hand. So that could be another bit of sub-assembly I did not consider. Awesome. I'm just constantly thinking and processing and figuring out what needs assembly, what doesn't need assembly, and all that shit. Painting, color separation, fun stuff. One model, I airbrushed ribbons and then I glued on later. I regret that ribbons are probably easier to hand paint. In future, ribbons will be hand painted. And there might be more further assembly later when I realise stuff will be easily done later than sooner. No rush whatsoever. Man, I've just remembered how much a pain in the ass that hair was. So the sub-assembly, pulling everything out and looking at it now, the sub-assembly could take a little longer than anticipated and originally thought. This is okay. And then I can put back the stuff that I won't sub-assemble. These bits don't need it. Lots and lots of study. Legs sorted. Not quite 100% sorted. Now 100% sorted. And I'm probably going to pin the ribbons on. I'm just deep in thoughts, The legs come in so many fucking parts, it's ridiculous. It's okay. These bits I shall keep off for colour separation. Those all I will glue on. I don't even remember vaguely where the fuck these goes. I know these have these fucking things, and there's just fuck all ability to attach them, so I shall put them in their own section. They're going to need further test fitting and shit. Fucking pinning and all sorts of crap. Fleshy arms. This and this belongs to something. Hair all together. Ah, yes. Fuck! Fuck. There we go. I remember it goes something like that, which is absolutely fucking balls to the wall insane. But it is some sort of weird jousting anime thing. I think I can not get away with it, but I can at least pin them, I suppose. So it just doesn't fucking work. So these need to be pinned. Those need to be glued. These... I have no fucking idea. Instructions. These might go in the rear or something. I've got another reference material, but so they may go something like on the back here or something. Don't know. We can deal with that later. Get rid of these two. So at least we can sub-assemble and then we can pin. Sub-assembly leads to a lot less work, and then we'll have to constantly pull parts out to test fit, make sure shit is working with shit. Change of mind, I'm not going to... Might be easier if this is just pinnable because it's a good fit. So, yeah, that's a bad feeling. and it can still fit with the part fitted, and then I can just ram some glue and I can reinforce a putty, and then that's a painted piece. So what we can do is I'm going to showcase some parts. So we've got a picture of all the parts cleaned up and good, mostly. I'm going to showcase some parts that are separated and some parts that are going to come together. I just need to do a quick test fit to make sure what belongs where. And then we're good. Cool. Okay, so we got an example of some separatable bits there. Take a photo, and we shall use super glue to stick them together. That's super glue good though. We shall find out. Oh, sexy. So we'll do this piece first. A bit of a hole. A nice little amount of super glue. The excess flows out. We wipe with cotton bud. Be careful with cotton and super glue. It reacts. Looks like it's bonded nicely. Shall reinforce it in areas that are not visible. Wipe back more excess. Done as a dinner. Less parts to deal with. So you can understand that there's a mold, two halves, undercut bits. There's only so much things that a mold can do without falling apart. Though some of these details of how little parts it is pretty amazing. So I popped a big piece of hair in. Touch the super glue. Fill in any joins there may be. Also be a gap fill. New bit of cotton bud. Sub-assembly. Very, very happy with that. Might need a bit of a buff later, but nah, that's alright. We'll leave them out so we can sand them next time. Now we've got a bit of a sus hole here, and a bit of a sus piece. Run a little super glue in. Stick the hair follicle in. Snaps together. Pushes the excess super glue out. We wipe off any hidden bits. We apply a bit of extra super glue to support from the outside. Bit on top. Wipe back, making sure that the excess gets forced down the seam lines. And that shit is in there for life. And due to the very good fit, I can't possibly see a gap. Hair follicles. I think it's a safe bet that it's glued in there for good. When super glue reacts to air and whatnot, starts to dry inside the area where there's no air, it's bonding and it's hardening nice and fast. You can take a bit of a photo of the assembled bits. Choice. Video evidence. Or there we go. Now that piece is like a shit ton more fragile. What's next? Where's the other arms mostly for test fitting, so I'm just a bit concerned about these parts. There we go. So we show the parts. Since there's space, you can put the picture of the super glue in. I should actually have a greater picture of the super glue. That's okay. Just checking which ones fit better because all the pieces are a tad different. Once I know where it fits good, then I can remove super glue. So I have to make sure that the parts fit. So that works. That fits. It's beautiful. AVG, fuck off. Shall remove it, and I shall add a tiny bit of super glue. But not to flood detail or anything. And immediately, cotton bud, wipe off excess because super glue leaves a very nasty texture behind. On the inside though, we're going to put a bit of super glue in to reinforce further. What I'm going to do after a few minutes is we're going to run some milliput inside it as well, just to reinforce it even further, and make it as strong as shit. No risks taken. So just a tiny bit in there. Fuck, a lot of super glues going down there. We'll clean it up. Well, it's not a lot. It's like the tiniest of a dribble, but I'm calling it a lot. And we wipe it off before it dries in a panel or something. Very good. Seems to be a funny spot on this piece of resin. Before I do anything else, I'll just buff it off. Pardon me. There we go. Tiniest bit of super glue on the joints. Quick test piece. Because there's an arm that goes in there. There's meant to be an array of articulation. Well, not articulation, but the illusion of articulation. There we go. Reinforcements. Super glue. Wipe away any excess. That did not feel good. No, that's alright. And then I could just wipe in the tiniest amount of putty once I deal with the legs. So we can take a photo of that. And we shall put aside for a little further work, which I could probably do about nowish. And just sake for tutorial sake, shall take photo of preferred super glue so I can talk about it and stuff in the video. I don't use expensive super glue, I just use $2 shop mini tube super glue. It is a bit runny. It would be nice to have gel super glue sometimes. 90% of the time I can make that work. But anyway, lily put. Reinforce those bits of arms. And I think the shoulders will wait until next session so I can study up the reference material, have it loaded up on this computer, which won't take too much. Remember, always cut your putty, not pinch. And your putty will last you a long time. You pinch it, change the chemical compounds, and you fuck it. So I'm just rubbing it, rolling it constantly in the hand, so it's a uniformed colour. I'm not seeing any marbling. That means it's going to dry consistently, thoroughly and fully. I'm going to cut it in 4 bits, as equal as I can, with the back of the blade, because you don't need to use the sharp end. Another advantage of using the Type 11 blade, I need a toothpick. We'll grab a fresh one. And we just roll it in the inner joins of the armour and just weld it together with putty as well as glue, just so there's just so much surface area touching and bonding that there is no excuse for this to break apart ever. So it's not a tiny bit of surface that's touching, it's maximum amount of surface. It's a bit hard to show off what I'm doing in here because I'm working in a small space with a toothpick and it's all dark and shit. maybe the future camera can pick up this sort of work in future. Also, any of the joints is going to be smoothed out in here, so there's not going to be any visible seams once the arm goes in. There we go. But resolution's a bit shit, but nah, what are you going to do? And here the seam's pretty bad. Or the gap at least, not the seam. And this way I'm going to feel a lot easier about the join. And I'm actually glad that this is being done as pre-assemble, paint, and then post the paint assemble. Try to assemble as much as you can pre-paint. Unless it's really easy to deal with. And since seams aren't a big issue in this kit, it's not too bad. In future, we'll probably work with a kit where there might be some pretty, well, bad seams. We'll see what E2046 gives us in the future. And if not, just see what's in the backlog and just play with that. Got a lot of kits. Most of you have done the more half-naked side of things, but more dress kits will generally probably be a bit easier. Not get to wet the cotton swab, and then we can smooth out the putty because it's wet and just make it as smooth as possible. We'll do the same with the other one. Sexy. Right, that hard work is done. Put that in the bin with the other pieces. And we shall do some leg works. Legs for days. I think we may need to pin these. Nah, fuck it. We'll just drown it in super glue. Just hope they don't snap off at a later date. Because these are fragile as fuck. These bits I'm a bit concerned about and put a lot of time thinking behind it, but I thought if I did the same thing when I did there, super glue it down and just sneak a little bit of sneaky putty in there, or extra super glue, it should stay there nice and tight. So maybe I actually don't see any pinning needed. I thought I might have needed some pinning, but might have been wrong. And it's good to be wrong. I'm not seeing the use of any putty needed too. So I'll put the putty away again. And when I'm done with these pieces, we will call it a night. And sometime on Wednesday, I shall do these tricky pieces. And it should work out. So always test fit, test fit, test fit. Because sometimes pieces don't fit good in pieces. Fill the area with super glue. So we're doing the high heels. I put in a touch much super glue. That's okay. Has not splashed anywhere that's vaguely important. So that is good. That's high heel 1 done. We should use less super glue for high heel 2. High heel 2 has a bit of a gap. Filler with super glue, but it's on the bottom end, so it's not going to be noticeable. See if the same gap exists with high heel 1. Doesn't really. There is a padding line on top of here, but that's like underneath the foot. That's not going to require putty or anything. That'd be a bit silly to put putty there. Next we'll do these side armoured bits. I forget what they're called. I should know what they're called. That doesn't fit too good. That fits well. I'll just make sure that the other one fits just as well. Ah, it actually snaps in, so I'm pretty confident that that's the way to go. That snaps. Should put super glue in. And we will snap it in. Hopefully permanently. Alright, come on, snap again. And tell me that the super glue's made it unsnappable. There we go. Wipe off excess, and then we shall reinforce from the rear. So put in a healthy dose of super glue. Let it seep and reinforce around the joint, and at least we know that this bastard is very well glued there. That's cool. Drop super glue. Fuck. Snap on. Reinforce with more super glue. This time I'll put a bit on the surface so it can just slide into the seams, and then I wipe off. Tiny bit scotting onto the surface, but that could be buffed off later as long as it's just very, very quickly wiped out of the detail. And just in case, I'll just drag my knife through the panels. Nice and sharp. In the rear, a bit more super glue. Wipe away major excess. There we go, nice and solid. Last is the stupid ribbons. See where fits where. Fuck. Gluing in tiny ribbons and such is, I can't. I'm just making a mess. This is bullshit. that's there. Just let it harden a bit, and then we'll put more on later to reinforce it. While we wait for that, we shall struggle a second time. Well, second time's a lot easier. Gonna let them harden a bit, and then we shall reinforce. Shit, man, that looks pretty. That's quite nice. What? Actually, while it's waiting to harden, I can take the photo. Okay. So I let that harden for a bit. Flip. The best thing about putting super glue on when it's unpainted is I'm not ruining the paint, and I can strengthen it as much as I want, and I'll figure out how to paint it later. Ribbon, I'm just gonna fucking hand paint it. Just don't give a fuck. There we go. I'm done. Excellent. Thank you very much for following this stream. Make sure to like and all that, blah blah blah, all the usual shittings. If you would like to support it, see more and see it more versatile, my experiments and all that, please follow and put a link to either the live videos or the established videos on the social medias, and tell your mates it's all cool and shit. And hopefully we can grow the stream. I think I was on for a reasonable amount of time. Feedback is much appreciated. Catch you lovely, sexy bastards. Goodbye.